And we're live. Welcome to Marketing Adventures with Carmel, a place where we bring some amazing people, inspiring business builders and exceptional entrepreneurs who have overcome some hurdles and some hiccups in business, because believe it or not, that does happen to all of us at some time. But they have some gold to share with us. You know, why reinvent the wheel? So I love bringing these amazing people on to give us those tips, tricks and insights so that it can help you market your business as well. At the end of the day, guys, if you can't market your business, you don't have a business, you purely have a hobby. If you're watching this on social media, please give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions, of course, put them into the chat box underneath. But if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and hit that little bell so you can be alerted whenever there is another interview or some tips. So today we have somebody who I spoke to last week, the week before, and I was like, oh my God, we have to interview you. So that is Chiraz Bensemmane. Yes, did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes, Bensemmane is perfect.
Yes, I just asked her how to pronounce it, and then I pronounced it wrong, but that's okay. So let me introduce you correctly. Thank you so much for being here with me all the way from Algeria today. It's such a small world when we're online, isn't it?
It is. And I'm traveling with you today, right? I'm in Australia today.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. And so I say to a lot of people in Europe, you can, or well, in the US, should I say, you can rest easy because tomorrow's already here, because I'm usually in tomorrow to wherever they are.
Yeah, please let us know how it goes tomorrow. Yeah. Let us know how it's that day.
Yes. So let me introduce you correctly and not just throw over to you. So you are a serial entrepreneur. Now, you also have something that I may or may not pronounce, and I'm going to be totally honest and transparent here, guys. You know me, I had to Google this word, and it was Algeria Laureate. How do I pronounce that?
Laureate.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Laureate.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Which actually means the person who is honored with an award for outstanding creative and intellectual achievement. I had no idea what that word meant, but thank you. For women in Africa, which is a 2021 program. It's WIA54. So obviously you were given awards for that program. Is that how I'm understanding that?
Well, it's actually what they do is they select one woman per country in Africa. So this is what I call Women in Africa. And they choose one project, one woman per country to pretty much congratulate them and nominate them. And they are the one representing the country. So I ended up being the one representing with Coach Chiraz Algeria this year.
Oh, awesome. Well, congratulations. I had never heard of that statement. Hence I had to Google it. But Google is your friend is my new, yes. My new little saying for this year. But you also help companies and individuals and public authorities to get access to the right resources. And goodness knows, in this ever-changing world, having the right resources is really important so they can grow and have greater impact. You also founded, as if that wasn't enough, so there's a couple of businesses here, and really, guys, if you are coaches and or in any kind of business, please listen up, because she founded Coach Tribe. So Coach Tribe has two prongs to it, and we will get into it a little bit more later. But if you're looking for a coach, you can certainly go on here and search for a coach. But if you are a coach wanting to get into some more international business, you can also get listed on here. So listen up as we talk through here. So that was the online coaching platform, and also Pitch World Fast. So Pitch World Fast, which again we'll dig down a little bit deeper in. So it's a business development project management consulting company. So this lady knows how to sell stuff, because she has built these companies up from nothing. And being Algerian and having worked and lived in more than 12 countries, she shared her expertise and helped more than 20 African countries and authorities, as well as hundreds of individual companies, build their capacities, find the right partners, and let's face it, none of us want to do this just on our own, internationally, and develop their economies and systems. So She has worked with so many other companies. There's a big list of them here I have in front of me, but I'm going to actually hand over to you first, my darling, Chiraz, and thank you, Chiraz. Is that how I pronounce your name correctly?
Chiraz, like the wine.
Chiraz, yes, like a beautiful wine, and it only gets better with age. Welcome, 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 and thank you so much for making the time to talk to me today.
Thank you so much, Carmen, for your time, for this invite and the introduction. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
Me too. So tell us a little bit about, I usually ask my guests about kind of their backstory. Like, how did you end up here and creating these businesses? Like, you know, what has happened in your life to bring you here?
That's a very good question, because I think this is going to be like my famous quote forever, because I always like give it as an example because it is true. So I have a master in international business and European affairs. So I did a business school. And when we get into the master, we had to pretty much choose our major, right? And I chose international business and European affairs, but we could have gone through entrepreneurship. That was one other, well, there was plenty of them, but for the sake of today, I'll just focus on those two. And I remember telling my friends, they were like, oh, you should maybe do entrepreneurship. Aren't you interested? I'm like, I am not that crazy to create companies. I can manage companies with people's money. I am not that crazy. And when I look back, I'm like, well, apparently you are. Apparently you are, lady. But pretty much, so it wasn't something, and I think that's something very important. It wasn't something that I planned, but something that kind of brought to me and that came up to me with my experience. So after I graduated, I worked for a company called Focus Report. So we were doing country reports on healthcare or energy sectors. We were interviewing CEOs, government officials, and this is also one of the reasons how I was traveling for work. And in the midst of it, because I worked a lot in emerging markets and talked with those CEOs, I realized that a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them did not have a long-term strategy when it came to sales. They were more short-term focused, just checking out the opportunities and jumping on them and not really having a clear path and a plan. And if there's something that I learned in that company is how important it is to have a strategy, to have a plan, to know who you want to talk to, what you're going to tell them, what you would like to sell to them, obviously remaining flexible and adapting. And that's how Pitch Real Fast was born. So it merged in my head and I was like, you know what, let me try it. And before trying it, actually, I remember sending an email to an export manager that I worked with in the Chamber of Commerce of Strasbourg where I studied and had my business degree. And I told him, hey, I have this idea for SME companies. Do you think they would be interested in having someone helping them, especially going international? Because I speak 4 languages. And as you mentioned, I worked and lived in 12 countries. So there's an added value there. So when I know the markets, because I've been there, or if I don't, I know how to get, when you get into it, what to do, and when you're looking at a market, what to do. And he said, definitely. And surprisingly enough, this wasn't, you've seen the list of the clients. I don't work only with SMEs. I end up working also with big groups or with authorities. So it just ended up being an idea that just came up. And same thing for Coach Strive. It just like bugged me at some point. Something bugged me and I couldn't find the solution. And I waited and I'm like, at some point I was like, you know what? I keep on thinking about it. Let me just take that leap of faith. Let me create it, because if I have this problem and I see other people having also the same problem, let me try to solve it in a way. So that's how it all started.
I love that, because, and something that you said at the beginning of that was, I didn't plan this. I didn't plan to come out and teach people about videos either. Absolutely was never on my radar. But I think, and I think for people watching, it's really important to know, just start. Like literally just start and be aware of the opportunities that come up. That's one of the things I often find, and I'm going to debunk it. People talk about mindset a lot, and I'm going, I don't want to set mind. I don't want to set mind. I actually want a flexible mind. And then somebody inevitably will say, but a growth mindset, but I'm still just set on that. I don't see the opportunities. And it's quite often in the perceived failure or the stuff ups that the opportunity can come from left field. So even though you haven't planned it, the illusion is, as business owners, they look at yourself, you're very successful now, and go, oh, she knew what she wanted to do all her life. It's like, no, I didn't.
And I don't even think we still know what to do. I think we're more adapting and being flexible and learning. Those are the three things for me that are so important. I'm learning every day, because even, when I look at Pitch Work Fast, what I thought it would be and what it became, this is two different things. I thought we would be just a consulting company that people would come to me and I would help them. I end up doing other stuff that bring value with the same mission that I had in mind. So it's more about just adapt yourself, be flexible. And I always say, because I do have a program, when I coach people to actually launch their project and do that. And I tell them, whatever happens, nothing is a failure. If at some point you think that you want to create a company and you try it and you see that at the end of the day, it's not for you, because there's also, this trend about let's be an entrepreneur. Not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur, and not in a bad way. We all have different aspiration, different ways of thinking. So I'm like, look, if at some point you try your project as a side hustle or full on, and you see that you want to go back as an employee, that is completely fine. This is not the competition. This is not. It's your journey. That's all that matters. So just do what feels right for you. You might have planned to be an entrepreneur, and at the end of the day, you realize, you have too much going on, and you are more of a person that just want to be an employee, just executing. That is completely fine. Or if you want to give it a try and go for it. Whatever happens, I think, just be flexible. And as you said, be open to all the opportunities that happen and just take whatever suits you at the moment you took the decision. Because yes, maybe in 5 years, that decision, you wouldn't take the same decision, but it doesn't matter. The conditions and the parameters that you have on D-Day, that's how you take your decisions. So
absolutely. And look, so often as entrepreneurs, and we've all done it, you start your business, then you go back to a job. Then you start your business, then you go back to a job as well. It's not just about going back to being an employee, although that is a programming. We're almost programmed to be employees. That's kind of our conditioning. But I call it the cha-cha. It's like I just do a little bit of a cha-cha. And I have a saying I say to all my members is, take the shortest route to the money while you're building what you want to do. You don't want to be, have the story of being flat in your backside, that you have no money, you have no nothing, because you wanted to make this plan work. That works for a few people, but for most people, it doesn't. You have mortgage, you have kids, you have to pay the bills and survive. So there's no failure in that.
There is no failure. And I think it goes back to also why you want to do what you want to do. Because if you're for the easy money, I am 100% sure that everyone will agree with me. I am sorry to tell you that entrepreneurship isn't the way for easy money. There are exceptions, obviously, but it is not the easy, because you have to build on the reputation. You have to show people that you know what to do. You actually might have to adapt your strategy. You might have to adapt your messaging. There's a lot of things going on. You have to learn to be. Yes, there's so many things to do. So just realize why you want to do it. That's really, because if you are really passionate about it, you will find a way to go back to it. And as you said, let's dance the cha-cha, let's find some money, and then let's come back to it. So just be aware of this. There's no journey that is the same, and there isn't just the one way to get to your goal. There's just your way as well.
Yeah. So amongst all, I talk a lot about marketing, as you know. So, people used to look at marketing as a dirty word. And I always said, well, marketing is literally everything you do before a sale. It's every conversation you have. It's every networking meeting you go to. It's everywhere you present yourself. But as dirty a word as marketing has come across sometimes, sales comes across as an even bigger dirty. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to do that. Blah. And 9 times out of 10 is because they don't want to be sold to themselves. Because and in this environment on social media and everything like that, there's that many bits of information, buy, and people are desperate and all sorts of everything. So you have built these companies and built your business to a stage, because at some stage you have to have been good at sales or it just wouldn't really work. So in our conversation that we had before today, you basically told me, I'm paraphrasing, but basically told me that sales for you is easy. Because to you, it's just become inherent and who you are. But for somebody who is that part of their business is what they're struggling with, give us those 3 tips on sales specifically that you find really work for you.
So the first thing that I want to say before diving in the tip when it comes to sales is that I'm sorry to tell you, sales is the backbone of any business. So embrace it, love it,
100%.
because without it, I'm sorry to say you're not going to go that far. Apologies.
Yeah.
But if I had to give some tips, the first one I want to tell, and I always repeat it, is prepare yourself. Prepare by doing your research, by knowing who you want to talk to, know who you want to sell to. It goes back to what I said before. A lot of people are just looking at opportunities and they jump on it, and this is how they make sales. But honestly, if you're looking at something on the long term, make sure to be prepared by knowing who you want to talk to, why you want to talk to them, why you are serving them. And remember, because you talked about it, people don't like to be sold to, but that's good. So prepare and know, why don't you want to be sold to? Why don't you like when people sell to you? Because at the end of the day, the best way to sell is to sell as if you're selling to yourself or to your best friend. I am not a salesy person. I hate it. I feel uncomfortable. I participated to a show not that long ago, and it felt to me, being a salesperson, so salesy. This is to tell you a lot of things, because I was like, I don't see the value we're bringing. So why are we just talking about what we do without actually, why are we doing it? But anyway, so make sure to prepare yourself and just know what you want to say, to who you want to say. And as always, be flexible. The second tip would be, make it personal. So see, when you prepare yourself and you know who you want to talk to, then you have to take in this little, even if it's one thing, people love to know that you did your research and do you know something a little bit more about them, and that is really specific to them. I'm going to give one simple example. Carmel is in Australia, right? So Chiraz is a very famous wine in Australia. So this is just by that little thing, but it's like, oh, you're in Australia, you know that this is just to make it personal, right? Just to connect yourself. Or if you want to sell something, you'd be like, oh, I read this article where you said X, Y, and Z. Here, we'll take the example when I told you I didn't want to be an entrepreneur, and be like, oh, so I saw that you didn't want to be an entrepreneur and blah, blah, blah. And you jump in. So when you make your research, you can like this, use their words to connect with them. It's all about connection at the end of the day when it comes to sales. And the third thing is, have the right pitch. That's why my company is called Pitch World Fast, right? Have the right pitch and the right message. It has to be really customized to them, for them, and doesn't feel like it is just another spiel that you have learned. It's really about the messaging and when it comes together as a communication, because you have to make sure to listen to the person who's in front of you, right? It's not you. And please, guys, if I have one thing, if you can do one favor to me, do not have a speech and just talk and then tell the person, so do you want to buy? Ask more questions. Make it a conversation. That's how you're going to be able to sell. But yeah, I would really, those are my three basics, like really prepare, make it personal, and really have a message or a pitch that is adapted to them.
Yeah. And I think in amongst all that, because, you know, we could chunk down each step even, is what you're talking about is that conversation is, for me, it's discovery. I actually was having a conversation with a client this morning. It's like, you know, so you're not literally saying, what's your problem? But you're kind of having a conversation. You're making it a bit personal. You say, so what is it you're doing here today? Oh, I'm looking to buy a new car. Cool. What kind of car is it? Oh, have you tried to buy one before? Yeah. What happened there? What was, oh, the salesman was too salesy. Oh, cool. What was he doing? So you're literally getting all that information. So you know what not to do and also what to do. Exactly. Which is very, very, very powerful in that, instead of, as you say, you want to buy?
Yeah, it's like, it's really treated as if you're talking to your best friend. So really make yourself like it's a conversation, get to know them. And I promise you, it's so powerful when you want to sell and you're using the person's words. So you gave the example of the car. The guy is like telling you, yeah, I was looking for a red car, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know, like an Audi red car, 2000. I don't know. I'm just like making up.
Yes.
And then you come, you're like, actually, a friend of mine has this Audi that is red. It might not be from 2000, like 2003. Would that be of interest? Of course it would be. The person, it's going to be really hard for the person to say no when they actually just said it. Yeah. They just say, they cannot be like, actually, no, I'm not interested in that. So this is why, like, take notes, guys. I always take notes. And then like this, I'm like, so you said this, and they cannot say no because they said it. You're using their words. And the worst case scenario, if they say, "Oh no, that's what I meant. That's not what I meant. Oh, I'm sorry if I misunderstood you. What did you mean?" And continue the conversation.
And you go back to that discovery.
Exactly. Ask the questions. Have a conversation. So important.
And that personal side that you mentioned, it builds rapport. It makes that connection straight away. You know, it's a funny little thing. It might be something silly or something that you have read or you've known. You know, if you were a typical car salesman and somebody is coming in off the street, so you don't have time to do the homework. So you have to do it then. Hey, how you going today? Are you looking for something in particular? You're just browsing. You start that conversation and you're doing your homework on the fly.
Here's another thing, because it made me think. I always say to my friends, I get to know everything without knowing everything. Meaning, I'm not into football or soccer. You call it soccer or football in Australia?
Footy in Australia, but the European contingent would call it football as well.
Yeah, so it is football.
Soccer. So, well, it depends. Okay, if you're Australian, you'd mean Aussie rules, but yeah, anyway.
So we're going to be talking about football / footy / soccer. Choose the word. Choose the word that identifies. So I'm not a big fan of it. However, for example, recently there've been the African Cup, right? But I actually get to know who plays. But in addition to that, sometimes there are articles and they say, for example, Senegal, it would be the first time that they would win. And they actually won. And it was the second time that they got into the final. And how also there is this curse. Very few countries have gone through it, meaning that when they win the cup, usually the second cup, they would. You're going to see the point. Now we're not going to be talking about it. So now, but, I was like, I'm sorry, guys. It's like, where did we go now? We're talking about. So let's talk about that. But it's like they tell you how it's usually they win the cup and they never get through the first round, like the champion, right? And I didn't know that, obviously, because I personally don't care. I don't really like football, I'm sorry. But I knew that. So sometimes when I got to talk to people, because we were in the midst of the African Cup, I could jump this and people would then come back to me and talk about it. And I just talked about something they liked. It didn't mean that I don't care about it, right? I just honestly, but it's just to make it warmer, to have an actual conversation and people actually getting back to you. So it doesn't have to be soccer. It can be on anything. So I know a little bit everything that is happening in the world and everything on the big event, just to have a conversation. And even I tell people, well, it is not something they're very interested. I was curious to know about that. And people, if they love it, they're just going to jump into it and talk to you and you start off the conversation. So you see, you were talking about the salesman. You could be talking about the weather. Let's say, talking about the weather, if you're looking in Texas currently, they had a big storm again, a big snowstorm. Texas is not known for snow, right? But see, you could talk about stuff like that just because you know it and you just make conversation. So I was just wanted to get
absolutely. So another thing that within sales, and it's sometimes looked at again with distaste when you say you have to be able to influence and persuade people, and people say, oh, that's manipulative. It's like, well, no, it's not. To me, it's to be able to influence somebody to buy a product or service is because I've done those conversations and I know that it is the solution. So when you use influence and persuasion with integrity, I think it's all the difference. How do you feel about using influence and persuasion as a tool with sales?
The first thing that I will say, I like to everyone manipulate everyone, people. I'm just saying. Remember when you were a kid and your mom made you do your chores or something? She was. I think it's just part of the rule of the game, and just I just take it lightly because at the end of the day, we are all in choice. Whomever we are in choice. We actually do what we want to do. Nobody can fully really manipulate us if we at some degree do not want to be manipulated or scammed. So at the end of the day, so that you don't feel uncomfortable when you manipulate people or influence them, you just have to make sure that you're right by your values and that you're actually bringing value. So values and value. So that when you do it, then you don't feel bad. And you have to believe in what you're selling. You have to believe that this is actually going to help them and bring them value. I used to sell before, obviously selling my businesses or selling the services that I do. I used to sell advertisement, right? So in the reports, we were selling advertisement. So this is not the sexiest thing to sell, but I learned to embrace it, because at the end of the day, I realized how this will serve. It doesn't serve me, it serves them. It serves the company that I was offering them. I was helping them building this brand specifically for this country on something. And this is why even when I was pitching them, I was telling them why this will serve them specifically and why they should put in their ad, etc. So at the end of the day, remember that one, if the person want to be manipulated, they will, because you're not really manipulating them. Second thing, it might be better that you manipulate them than others, because if you are coming from a good faith, you're coming with good intentions and have the right value for them, it's better that you actually get to work with them than somebody else, or you sell them what you have because you know that this is going to help them. And again, at the end of the day, it's not about you, it's about them. Just make sure that you believe in what you want to sell. Believe it, because if you really think that you're bringing value to them, they will see it, they will understand it. Usually we don't manage, I don't take on, for example, projects that I don't believe in. I have offers, people like ask me, hey, could you sell, I think some people ask me to sell some fish that they have. And I'm like, there is value into this, but I like to take on projects that I see can actually change something. I'm working, for example, with a pharma company that sells a generic hepatitis C treatment. And that was especially when there was like the entire scandal, like with the treatment being $95,000, when actually they sell it for, I think it's $1,000. So big difference. So, or I take on project in renewable energy or so stuff like that. So something that I do,
something that you love as well. So it makes it easier for you to sell. Yeah,
because I mean, maybe that's why you don't sell, is because you don't believe in what you're selling. So
and the thing is, when it's their own product, quite often with coaches or consultants, it's their own product or course. So they have this, imposter syndrome, bullshit, whatever going on. And I don't mean bullshit as in blah blah blah. We all have it at some stage.
I'm better at selling you than I would be at selling myself. That's like a rule of the game.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. And I mean, Robert Cialdini's book, I'm sure you know Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, The Power of Persuasion. And that's what it's all about. It's all about the different steps of, and the law of reciprocity is a great one. That's why people in sales will give you something. They'll give you, if it's a service, it might be, or a product. It might be a free PDF, it might lead blah, 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 things like that. But they do that because you're more inclined to buy from them if they've already given you something. There's actually a whole psychology behind it. So you talked to us about building your two different companies. So obviously you've had to have a team to get together, a team. What's the most difficult thing about motivating a team?
So I don't know. So the first thing is, remember that they are not you. So they're never going to be as involved, as passionate as you are by your project, by your service. So that's the first thing. And then it will come back to what we were saying, because I know I'm going to go back to sales, but I promise you we're all selling something at some point. Like you might be selling your ideas. So you guys, like, we're all selling something. But I think it comes back to having a conversation with the team as well and understanding what motivates them. Are they passionate, or did they join you because of the money? Did they join you because of the mission? Did they join you because of the impact you're having? Did they join you because of the training you might get them, so the learnings they will get? What motivates them, money or learning? And you can be, I am very transparent with people that join the company. So I'm like, okay, why did you join us? Why would you like to join us? And when I do the sales training for companies, I always even ask them that. Why did you join? Why are you still in the company? Because you want to understand what motivates them. And I did tell them, it's like, if it is a salary, it's fine. Just be honest about it. It's completely fine. But at least we know how to motivate you at the end of the day. If I know you're motivated only by money, then I'm not going to worry so much. I will still give you the training, but I know that what interests you is more the money, and that is fine. but
Set
you
up a
do
bonus structure or something for that person.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, sometimes people join maybe for the money, but at the end of the day, they do believe in what you do. So this is why they stay. So the most important is, like, why do you stay? And you can ask it. I think it's more about a conversation. I work with a team that is remote. And I had a lot of learning to do as well, because one of them is our developer for Coach Tribe. I am not a technical person, people, so I do not code. And it was, and it is sometimes so frustrating because I don't know how to code. I don't know how it works. So I had to learn how they think and how long it takes. Because for me, something, when you go on a website,
Do it
you
like
click on
this.
something,
Do
you're
it
like,
like this.
it's easy. Why is it taking so much time? But it is not. So this is why I would recommend, if in some part of your business, you can actually learn how to do it. It will be even better when you're going to take somebody on board, because it's going to be easier for you to mentor them and make sure to understand how also to work with them. If it is something that it's maybe more technical and you're never going to learn, example, develop me. I mean, as again,
me too. Yeah.
Not gonna happen. I did learn how to use WordPress, but we're not doing that. WordPress is easy to some extent, but not that one. So just learn how the person works. We're all different people. We're not motivated from by the same things. We all have our same personalities and way of thinking. So if you want to motivate people, I think it's important to get to know them, get to understand what motivates them. And the third thing I would say is to make sure that you integrate them in the process, in the strategy. Explain to them why we're doing what we're doing, right? Just don't give them tasks for the sake of giving them the task, but explain to them, especially when you get, for example, an assistant or like a trainee, something like that, and they're doing, all the shitty work. Just explain to them that for sure their work is very important, because you need this so that, and you explain the different steps. Like, we create a lot of database when we do sales, right? We have to have the prospect. So we have to go and search and look for this list of people and having the right people, etc. But explain to them that if you don't have that, then you won't be able to contact them. If you don't contact them, then you won't have sales. Clients,
and then the customer journey is done.
Just make sure to integrate them in that journey. Explain to them the strategy. Even if they don't care, it is fine. At least they cannot say that, I don't know why I'm doing what I am doing. I think people like to feel that they are part of a bigger picture and of a purpose. So just make sure to acknowledge that.
And look, you hit on a couple of points there that I'd like to bring up. People will say it's for the salary or for the money, but they may take the job for that, but they'll stay because they're valued.
Exactly.
They'll stay because you care. But one of the other things, and on an entrepreneurial business owner, some people call themselves entrepreneurs, others don't. And I was the same as you. I had a very, very unrealistic expectation of how long it took something to get done. Now, for me personally, like, I would beat myself up because, like, oh my God, somebody else seems to be able to do this in 5 minutes. It's taken me half an hour. The truth was, it wasn't. It was taking them half an hour. I just wasn't seeing the back end work. And we get very hard on ourselves as, what's wrong with me? Why is it taking me? Blah, blah, blah. And it's such a wasted energy. It takes as long as it takes. And as long as you're moving, then it doesn't matter. Move at the speed of grace. As you said, you didn't intend to do this. Neither did I. I thought, I'll just go and coach some people. They're going to pay me to talk to them and everything will be rosy. It's going to be lovely. But it's not that way now. It's because I'm doing videos. It's a whole different thing. But I didn't have the reference point to even know that then. And now I'm kind of like, it's happening for me. It's happening as we go. And it will evolve and grow into something that I don't even know yet. But that's okay, because I'm just still moving.
Exactly. We're always learning, I promise you. I said yesterday to a partner, I said, if one day I tell you that I know everything, please hang up on me. It's like, because this is never going to happen. We all have our forte. So really just keep your mind open, as we kept on saying, because you never know what this journey, last time I was like, so right now we have one of our signature projects for Petrol Fast that is take the forms of the African webinars, where we help, and we have created this platform which takes form actually of webinars, a platform where African authorities meet, talk, share the experience, discuss on how to improve whether the healthcare system or the economy is a specific topic. And when I look back, I'm like, I never thought I would do that. I would never thought that my small company would be doing that, and that I would have partner from the African Union, from the WTO, from the WHO. And you're like, I am tiny compared to these big organizations, but I am doing it. I'm showing up and I am doing it. And that's the thing, is like, you never know where your path is going to lead you. You never know who you're going to meet. You don't know what, like, I don't know what this conversation with you, Carmel, is going to lead, but I am here, I'm showing up, and and this is it. It's like, just take on those opportunities that you feel are right for you, and that you feel like will add value, like you want to add value, like you feel like this is going to add to you and you're going to add to them, and keep on going, keep it up.
And I think that goes back to that flexibility and that awareness, and seeing the opportunity goes back to that. If you have a mindset, even if it's grown mindset, whatever, you may not see them. You just may not see them because you're, with the growth mindset, you've got your goal and you're just going there. Well, what are you not seeing either side of that line? And that's why I really encourage people to, yes, I'm not saying don't have your goals, don't work towards them, nothing like that. But be open and flexible, as you've just mentioned so many times, Chiraz. Be open and flexible to what might come out of left field, because that's where they do. Somebody said to me somewhere along the way, video is something that people should be learning. And I got, yeah. And I kid you not, I was given a task to make a video. 27 hours it took me to make my first video. I cried over the keyboard. It was horrendous. But I did it as a task, and I had a timeline on it. It has never seen the light of day, that video. But through that process, I found kind of better ways to do it, little tweaks to do it. And then people started saying, I know, I should be doing video. And I went, okay. I did a bit more market research. I went, it's a thing. And just kept going with it. But it was never my intention to do that.
I want to add on to that. Do not underestimate what comes easy for you, because what comes easy for you might not be easy for other people. You see, you were talking about how to make videos. What comes easy for me besides sales, well, it's a lot of work, obviously. It's, for example, how to approach people and how to contact them, right? Like whether on the phone or emails, people will always answer to my emails. Even if it's a no, at least they get open. They answer it, that's good. And I was like, and somebody was like, how do you do this? What do you write in it? And I'm like, I don't know. I just like, that's how I do. And I just taught him.
I just do it.
I just do it, right? And then, so I created a course about how to approach people and network, because this has come easy to me, but actually for people, it is not easy. So don't underestimate what you feel is easy. It comes easy because you built an expertise. You've done many, many hours, like training and improving, and keep on improving. I keep on improving my my phone speech and my emails, etc. Like it's not like always the same thing. That's the thing. So you keep, I'm sure, improving on the systems you have in place for the videos, for everything. Every single time it's an improvement. And thank God we are improving ourselves, because you cannot, if I look at the website I had for Pitch Roll Fast when I created it, and today, or even Coach Tribe, like both of them, definitely not the same thing. They don't look the same. That's one example. Just
absolutely.
So even if it's not mine, look at the websites, how they used to look before and how they look today. So you see there's an evolution. So everything is bound to grow and to change. So just know that you keep on learning, you keep on doing what you do, and you're getting better at it. So people pay for your expertise. What might seem easy to you is not maybe specifically easy for somebody else. So this might be even an expertise you can monetize if you'd like to. If you see people keep on coming back to you, like you said, Carmen, people kept on coming back to you and asking you about the videos. People kept on asking me, how do you do the calls? What do you say to people? How do you write emails? What do you say to people when you meet them face to face? So I created a course. You created a coaching, all that. So listen to what people are asking you, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, for me, it's easy. Why not actually do it? That's
and I think that's a skill we build, but I also think that there's such value in even going back further than that. As people, for me, my background was hospitality, and I used to always deal with the complaints, for example. And people used to say, how do you do it? And I'm like, oh, for God's sake, it's just easy. But the truth was, I actually had a skill of building rapport and trust very easily. Now, I didn't know it was a skill. So I often say to my clients, the minute you hear yourself, oh my God, that's just easy. What are you talking about? Have a look at what that skill is, because that's an inert skill in you that somebody else doesn't find it easy at all.
Let me just add on that, because while we're talking a lot business, as in like a skill that we built in our business, please look at what you're doing easy at home. I'm going to take an example that I'm not a mother, but I know a lot of moms that juggle between work and their kids, right? So time management and planning for a lot of mom comes easy because they have to. It's like they have no choice. It's like, that's all I have to do, guys. That's like, not all. I'm sorry. That's not, it's not diminishing what mothers have to do, but this comes easy. So sometimes maybe the skill set that you have is something that you kept on doing even in your personal life. So do not underestimate or don't feel, we talked about imposter syndrome very briefly before, but do not underestimate the expertise you have because you didn't work in a company or something, so you feel like you're not valued and you don't have the criteria. Sometimes it's not about that. If I take example of Coach Tribe, not all the coaches on Coach Tribe are certified, because I do not believe only in certification. Certification give you something. Diplomas teach you stuff. I'm not saying that I have a master's, so it's not like, oh, I just believe in people that drop out of school. Everyone's journey is different. But I'd rather have a coach that have experience in the field that he's coaching me on than somebody that just got a certificate and he's like, I can teach you. So do not underestimate experience in the larger term, really in the larger term that you have. Personal and business.
That's very much like the example of, if you want to climb Mount Everest, do you want to climb it with the guy that wrote the book, or do you want to climb it with the guy that has done it successfully 20 times?
Exactly.
Like, I want to do it with that guy. Look, I think we could talk forever and ever and ever. I'm just aware of the time. And look, in your professional opinion, obviously we've talked about sales and how important it is. How important is marketing as a whole? And I know there's lots of different various parts of marketing. How important to business is good marketing?
Again, marketing. So first thing, marketing and sales go hand in hand, guys. You cannot do one without the other, because if you are killing the baby in the. It's an expression in French. I don't know how to say it. We just like say it's like the French expression is very funny. It's like you're killing the baby in the egg. It's not really like.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it's like before it was even born, you're killing it. I'm sorry, apologies for the very weird, but you have to make sure.
What do we say? You're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That'll do.
There you go. Sorry, babies. But when it comes to marketing, it's so important because you have to understand one thing. Nobody's going to be able to share your message better than you are. Nobody's going to be the best ambassador than you are. The only thing that you have to do when it comes to marketing is don't disperse yourself. Don't try to do everything at the same time, but give it a try. Of course, you can try out, especially nowadays. Marketing used to be easy, I would say, in the way that there weren't that many options of where to share your message, right? Nowadays, we have all the social medias. I'm like, there's a list. Recently, we were talking about Clubhouse. I'm like, oh my God, Clubhouse, I have to also learn that.
I thought that had died off again. Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So, but see, we were talking about learning and being flexible. So we have to learn and be flexible and check this out. But so just see which platform is better for you and where your message will have the most impact. And I would say one thing not to underestimate is old media. It's not only about social media, but the press and the radio are still very powerful ways. Advertisement in journals or in buses and stuff. Okay, that's maybe for bigger companies, right? But still, so I think it is very important. So just be aware that you are responsible for your message. You are responsible for putting yourself out there. Do not make the mistake that I made, and I am very honest about it. When I started Fit Well Fast, especially the 4 first years, I did not want to talk to the press, and I didn't want to tell people about what I was doing, because I was like, I want my work to show what I do. I want to first do this. I want to make sure that what I do is of value and is of quality. And today, in hindsight, I actually would do it in parallel, because at the end of the day, I know that I'm a hard worker and that I would bring value to people, and I've shown it anyway. And I had press opportunities when I started that I don't have as much today. So it might come, it came easier before that it would come today. So don't take this, don't forget about it, because there are some people that you might see on TV or on social media that actually haven't done yet half of what you've done, but they already talk about what they're doing.
They're just really good at marketing. That's the difference. Quite often you'll hear people say, I've been doing this longer than that person. I know more than that person. That person is just really good at marketing is the difference.
Exactly. So just put yourself out there. You know, one of the reasons I actually had created Coach Tribe was because of that, because I saw a lot of coaches very good in marketing, but I'm like, okay, you're good at this, but are you good at actually coaching people? And because when you get coached, you have to talk directly to the person. I was like, I feel like I might get scammed. So I created the platform. So there's a little bit more of a safer environment, but that's the thing. They are good at marketing. So it's good. It's good for them.
I've seen it over the years. I did my coaching diploma, I think 11 years ago now, maybe 12. And I had a bit of that going, oh my God, why are they so good and I'm not? But over the years, I've watched other people come up, and I can tell you without exception, well, not 99% of the time, the people that are really good and really successful on the surface of it are the people that are good at marketing.
Exactly.
End of story. Whether they've got good skills behind it or not, they're good at marketing.
So just embrace it, put yourself out there, and just make sure to know what is your message, what you want to say, where you're going to say it, and just go for it. Nobody's going to be able to speak about you. Obviously, yes, there are referrals, etc., but you are responsible for your message.
That's it. And here's a kicker, guys. Don't be afraid to stuff it up, because in the time of social media, that people will forget about you in 5 minutes anyway. Unless you're consistently there with your message, but if you stuff it up, they'll forget about you in 5 minutes.
And this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to add on what you just said related to sales. When you are selling something on social media, even if you said it only once, please say it again, because not everyone is seeing your stories or your posts or whatever you are doing. So you would have to repeat yourself. You might feel like, oh, but I've already seen it. Have I said it? Yeah, it's true. But not everyone has seen it because of the algorithm. They don't show it to everyone, etc., etc. So repetition is key, whatever it is, whatever you're doing in business, in sales, in marketing. Repetition is key because you want people to remember you, to remember your message, to remember what you do. And it's only if you do this that people will actually remember.
Awesome. So as I said, my God, we could talk for so long. So I'm going to pop up on the screen how people can best contact you. So one of them is, and when I heard it first, I thought it was pitch well fast, but it's pitch world fast, as in getting your pitch ready in a way that you can be worldwide and actually get, attract international people, which I think is a friggin' awesome way to be able to do it, and you are a living example of it. But the other one as well, for a lot of people that I know that are coaches, and look, coaches have had a bad rap. The word coach isn't always used that much anymore because people have a value around it. Like, it's like getting a plumber. Oh my God, I had a plumber and he drowned my bathroom, he flooded the place out. It's like, well, it's a coach, and people have their own. But being able to go to Coach Tribe. So we did mention about Coach Tribe, which the website's up on the screen there. So as a coach, if you want to expose yourself in a nice way to an international audience, you can be a coach on that, obviously having to go through some steps to do so. But if you're looking for a coach, that's a good place to start. I had a look at the site earlier. You can just type in business coach, or you can type in whatever it is you need, and then the options will come up. And then that those coaches have been screened by Chiraz. They're not just any Mickey Mouse anywhere, because technically it's not a very regulated industry. So anyone can call themselves a coach.
Yeah. And everyone can be, anyone could be. I'm not saying the other thing. I mean, I fell into coaching because of the trainings that I did. It wasn't planned, people. It wasn't planned, but still. Yeah. But I want to make sure whenever I talk to them, I talk to each of my coaches, and I make sure that they understand the journey as well and what we're doing, because we're building community as well. So the coaches, we're all connected also together. We have a little WhatsApp group, so if they need, we're there for them as well. So, I mean, and if you don't find a coach, here's another thing. what's important for me. I mean, I know we're speaking in English right now, but one thing that was key for me was that you could be coached in any language you speak, because I don't want people to focus on the language and be like, oh my God, I don't speak English. Guys, we can speak. I have coaches, we can coach in 15 different languages. I can coach in 4 languages just myself. So imagine my other coaches, that's the same thing, because at the end of the day, it's just about you. And if you don't find a coach, just let me know, and we have a community so we can still grow it. But I think whatever you're doing in your life, just keep on growing. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've one last question that I always like to ask my guests when they're on. If you were not doing what you're doing right now, what would you be doing instead?
Very good question. There's a lot of parameters that goes into this because I'll be like, okay, well, if I had all the money that I needed, I'll just be traveling the world. That's all I would say. But I honestly, it's kind of hard not to see myself doing what I do, because I honestly love what I do.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think the second best would be being maybe an export or business development manager at a company that I believe in, because that would be the natural kind of same thing. But I don't see myself not doing what I do. Unfortunately for me, no, I just love what I do.
Yeah, that's amazing. Chiraz, I want to say a huge, huge thank you. It's been a great conversation. Look at us. We've been here for nearly an hour. I thought it was going to be a short interview.
Thank you for staying with us till the end, guys.
Yes, and thank you so much for staying on with me too. Thank you so much for hopping onto the call. I really appreciate it. I love what you do, and I love your energy as well. So it's been terrific. So guys, if you are watching this, make sure that you ask us any questions. Even if you watch this after, ask us any questions. Myself and Chiraz will get back and answer them for you. Make sure you tag one of us in it. It makes it much
so
easier.
we see it.
Yeah, no matter where you're watching it, tag one of us will see it. And if you, again, are watching this on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that we can make sure we're bringing you these valuable interviews and some other insights, tips, and tricks, if you like, sometimes shortcuts for you to get your marketing, your sales, and your attraction so you can build your business too. So for now, it is bye from me and bye from Chiraz.
Bye. Thank you so much, Carmen.